106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Good evening, this is Dr. Bones Live, and I know it's a Friday, and NMS is usually on Saturday. I do apologize, but we had to switch things around due to my scheduling issues. But tonight, we have a special guest host because Matt Andersons couldn't make it, so we have Forgottent Bee with us tonight. Welcome, Bee.
Hello, thanks for having me on and keeping me up.
Yeah, that's the goal. And welcome our special guest, Dan McCarthy. Dan, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you.
So first off, Dan, I'm looking over your stuff and your bio and whatnot, and it's just really cool to see what you've done. I know you've been in the game a little bit, but first off, let's see how I phrase this properly to make it sound decent instead of what it sounded like in my head. But when you started to get going and playing guitar, that sort of thing, did you have a specific idea in mind once you started getting more accomplished of what style you wanted to play, or was it just kind of an eclectic mix of stuff?
Kind of an eclectic mix of stuff. I had some classical fingerpick training, and I really love the folk genre. But I recently had just an amazing period of inspiration, and ideas just began to come, and it just started literally just flowing out of me. And so, I mean, I've always respected Bob Dylan, Neil Young,
right,
all that style of music, and their songwriting. It was just so amazing and blew me away. But I just had this period of inspiration, really.
Now, mentioning Bob Dylan and Neil Young, so are you kind of cautioning more to the poetic side of things as opposed to just like kind of we'll call it basic kind of songwriting, like verse chorus verse?
Somewhat, yes. I mean, I really respect them highly, and I learned so much from them. However, I kind of do a lot of freestyle things as well. It's just kind of, I suppose, kind of an eclectic combination. That's a good word. Mm-hmm.
Now, with you mentioning classical picking, how has that influenced your music or kind of helped it out a little bit? Because I mean, it's not necessarily rare, but at the same time too, is it it's kind of different from what you're playing right now. How were you able to kind of mix that in and just kind of say, you know what, this is going to work, and because of this, I can do this many more things?
Right, I'll kind of use it for an introduction. Like Fly Away, my first track with Factory Fast Records. The introduction there was all finger picking, and it lends itself very well to this style of music. It just flows, and once I can feel that flow, you can feel it inside. You can just let it out, and essentially, yeah, that's a good combination of finger picking then to actual picking. Yeah.
Now. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, B.
I was just going to ask a question, actually, just listening to that, because I had a look at some of your videos, Dan, and welcome to the show. And I just wondered, you hold your guitar quite high. Is that part of, sort of because you're finger picking, or, is there another reason why you do that?
It's kind of funny, actually. I've always kind of held it a bit high, I guess, compared to other players. But for finger picking, yes, you can kind of see what you're doing, and your strings are closer, the frets are closer, so obviously things flow a lot better because it's a lot closer to you. It's just more tangible, more immediate. It's just right there, and it just flows. Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And a good point, B, that you mentioned, just because it's one of those things that just not just like indie videos, but the mainstream videos. You notice different styles of not just guitar playing, but bass playing as well. And the two I'm going to mention because you hold your guitar up high, Dan, is Les Claypool from Primus. And despite the videos I've seen him live, and he holds it up really high, but obviously he's a phenomenal musician. But then you have the opposite end of the spectrum, where with Soundgarden, Ben Shepherd has his bass down to his knees. So it's just kind of cool to see, and kind of the reasoning behind it, because obviously every musician has their own reasoning as to why they play the guitar a certain way, not just style, but like we said, just holding it. Just kind of interesting to me that B mentioned that. So good point, B.
Thanks. It was just the other thing I was going to ask, actually, because I was watching one of your videos live at Reed's Cider House, and you had a blue coloured guitar, and I just wondered, was that a custom made one, or?
It's actually a Takamine. It's a Jasmine. It's just a low end Takamine, but it has a beautiful, brilliant tone to it. And sometimes it's not how high-end a guitar it is, but simply what tone resonates from it. And I played it in the store. I said, yes, I must have it. And it's me. It becomes an extension of yourself, amazingly. So I said, yep, this is the one. And and my good friend Eric Avey from Mountain Ride, avmusic.com, he's the one that took that video. He actually has 3 bands. He has Strung Tight, which is himself and his wife, Kate Avey. He plays guitar. She plays electric upright bass. And then they have Mountain Ride, which is a full bluegrass ensemble. And then there's also The Reckoning, which is a Grateful Dead cover band. But he was nice enough to take that video for me, and it was kind of a cool improv video. And I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah.
Well, Dan, those are always the most fun videos, especially when they're live, because, anything can happen live, and it's just one of those things. And the thing is, too, is when you're playing live, too, it gives you more freedom to kind of play around a little bit more, meaning like adding on to the song, like a couple extra riffs here and there, maybe elongating the solo a little bit. So, it's got to be a good time, and having that done just like that, it had to kind of make you proud afterwards to watch it, saying, what, that was really cool, and I enjoyed that.
Right. I kind of play the same song different ways every time. There's always that element of improvisation that's present in the music. Much like our famous improv bands, Grateful Dead, and so on and so forth.
Right.
Who recently had their 50th anniversary shows.
That's right. I was just about to mention that, actually. Go ahead. Because they played New York, and they played Chicago, and they played the what's called the Fare Thee Well.
Yeah, fairly well. I had the pleasure of seeing one of the Santa Clara shows with a good friend, Jesse, out in California, and it was just amazing to hear that played live, just to fill that entire stadium live. It was just a one of a kind, especially with Trey, another one of my guitar heroes, as lead man. So it was wonderful.
You're talking about like Trey as in Grateful Dead, Trey, or Trey Anastasio from Fish?
Trey Anastasio from Fish.
Yeah, buddy. Because I'm just curious because at one point, like this is years and years ago. Like Dead's been around for a while. They actually had a guitarist named Trey. I can't remember his last name, but it was only for like maybe 2 months, and then he was out of the band. So when you say Trey Anastasio, you know what? I respect him as a guitarist as well. I'm a huge fan of Fish, and they also actually it was a really awesome to me. This was out in about 2000. Trey Anastasio did a side project called Oysterhead, and did it with Les Claypool and Stuart Copeland from Police.
Yes.
And
That's fantastic.
If you haven't heard that album is absolutely phenomenal. That amount of talent in one bunch was just something else, and it was just kind of disappointing they never made a second album.
Yeah, I wish they would as well. I mean, just a fantastic collection of musicians there, and talent just.
Well, that's right. Hey, it really blew me away when I first heard it. I was like, I couldn't believe it. It's like this is because I just recently gone to Fish, so I didn't know too much about Trey Anastasio until and then I had Fish about their double live album, which came out years and years ago, among many. But it was live at the Madison Square Gardens. But I heard that, and then I was always been into Primus and the Police, and when I heard this together, I was like, this is an incredible. Like, this is such a genius idea.
Yes, with Mike Gordon on bass too. And they're all incredible. Yes.
Right. Well, enough sidetracking. So I just had to mention that just because you kind of picked on a lot of stuff that I like and I know about. So I just had to put my 2 cents in there.
Yeah.
But as far as your song production goes, Dan, like writing wise, I mean, I know you said you've had a lot of inspiration lately. Now, how exactly do you go about your songwriting process? Does it vary from time to time, or is it kind of just like you have the lyrics, write them down a little bit, and you come up with a riff later, or the riff comes first and the vocals come later, or how's that work for you?
I'll kind of go in spurts. Well, I have inspiration, and then perhaps I won't for a while. But it was about last winter where songs just started flowing out of me. I had this little journal, and my wife had gotten from a friend kind of to write down a journal, but turned out not to be a journal, but rather a songbook. And it would start from improvisation, just simply jamming and taking ideas and molding them together. And then I would kind of come up with a basic chord structure behind it. And then I would put lyrics to that chord structure, and then songs would just form, and they just began to flow almost effortlessly. It was really quite amazing. And whenever I got these ideas, I had to write them down. Of course, that way I would remember them.
Right. Well, that kind of answers.
Play them all different. Yeah.
That kind of answers my next question. I was going to say, do you ever have those moments where you got that tune or the idea inside your head, and like I got to write down, I got to do it right now, because if I don't, I can forget, and it's going to suck later if I don't get it done now.
Yeah, there's a definite immediacy to it, because it's like, wow, this is brilliant. I have this idea. I've got to write it down, and that's it. That's it. In a nutshell, it just comes to you. It just flows out of you, and I begin to just write it down. Basic chords,
right?
And then I put, things on top of the chords. Yeah.
Very cool. Bee?
I was just going to say, could you tell us a bit about your childhood? I mean, does that come into your songwriting in any way? I mean, do you feel that maybe your childhood places you as a musician, or is it everything that's sort of happening since then?
Yes, I think my childhood, I'm so happy that my parents got me a guitar. I was only about 9 or 10 years old, and I took lessons from a man back in New York, and he also kind of taught me finger picking back then, and a lot of ideas come from my childhood. That's where it all came. I actually played in a high school band, as was popular in the day. It was called Mixed Drinks.
Oh, right on.
That's great, then.
Yeah. I have a good friend, Johnny Cuomo, who plays in New York City professionally. And I kind of went off to school, and then he began to play professionally, and then kind of the guitar sat for a while. But lately, things have really been clicking. I don't know what happened or how it happened, but things just started clicking. I started writing original tracks, and because before it was mainly cover stuff, but now it's like, wow, bam, original, and it's just continued to grow. But yes, it was all based upon my childhood, just simply sitting in my room playing classical scales and arpeggios, right, and different chords, and then of course playing in